Well, this has to be a first, Wolf. We did the first hour of the show from the studio like you typically do.
Yeah.
And now we're standing on the roof wearing weird glasses.
Boy, this is so bizarre right now, man. Got these glasses on just so you can actually raise your chin up and look up into the sky and check it out right now. Looks like a crescent moon. And yet, it's
Can
the
I stand
sun.
up? Is that going to mess everything up? I feel weird sitting here next to Wolf while he stares at the sun.
That is so cool right there, man, honestly. And what are these blackout glasses that we're wearing right now, man? How impressive is this? You can't see anything.
Can't see anything else.
Anything out of it unless you look at the sun.
Yeah.
And then you can actually see it. What a beautiful thing that is, man. Bizarre.
So you can't see anything I'm doing right now? Because
No,
I'm not wearing the
no,
sunglasses.
I can't,
I'm trying to,
yeah. Not at all. Why?
Okay. Well, I just good to know. For
What
the
are you
next
doing?
Time. I'm not. That's my business.
What
That's not your
exactly are you doing?
business.
This is a little bizarre right here. Okay, excellent.
You
What
ever
is
been up
going
here?
on? I've never been up here right now. Base Earnings, I will tell you, here we are at the station on top, of course, of the, what would you call it, an office building? I think that's pretty much what we'd all call it right now. And feeling as though I might go through the roof from time to time.
Yeah, you mentioned that a couple times.
Just be careful where you step if you're ever up here on the roof, Base Earnings.
It does feel like the plot to Hangover 4. I mentioned that earlier, that they're going to leave us up here. Our entire marketing team and everybody else is just going to leave us on the roof and wonder what happened at 11:30.
This is really, really cool, though, because here we have, what do we have? We call this the Comrex, do we not, Byron? We call it the Comrex, as a matter of fact. We've got it up here on top of the roof right now, and there's a lot of people that are actually up here, right? Because they want to see the eclipse as well. A total eclipse.
Total eclipse of the heart.
I can tell you they all left and you wouldn't know.
Buddy makes an appearance.
It's just us. Okay, you're going to have to drive while I put these on so I can look at it, okay?
Okay, yeah, here we go. Luke
right, you
Lipinski
drive.
trying to get his blackout glasses on right now. It's no easy chore.
No, not with a
They're,
hat and a
they're
headset.
the cardboard, right? I mean, how much do you think it costs to make these things?
Wow, that thing
It
is-
can't be that expensive.
Wow.
It just can't, right? And yet, you cannot look at the sun without these things.
No, you really can't.
And, man, can you imagine just what kind of damage could be done to your eyes if you did it? Even with sunglasses on. So here we are on top of the roof, and we are looking at this. Does it not look like a crescent moon when
It does.
you look at it, right?
Yes, it absolutely does.
But it is not, Basinonians. It is the sun.
Now, Wolf, you're a
and
scientist.
a partial eclipse.
Can you explain to people why you're not supposed to look at the sun without these glasses that I'm convinced are just straight black fabric?
Just, honestly, right now, I can't tell you why that is.
Wolf's
Luke.
been looking at it for like 8 minutes. Are we concerned at all? Like, he's got the glasses on, but he has been looking at this eclipse
It is
for
so
about 8
cool,
minutes.
man. I imagine actually seeing the moon moving in front of the sun, and it's just kind of very, very cool. That crescent sun is actually getting smaller before our very eyes right now. Now, it's incremental, of course, but looking at it, this is something you just don't get a chance to do on a regular basis.
Double rainbow. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I think I see Pete Carroll up here. actually.
Wasn't Pete Carroll as well?
Yeah, he was
not
wandering around
actually
up here on this roof, probably.
Did he exit out?
He did. I couldn't find it, but he did exit out. Our guy Todd Walsh texted me before the show, and he's like, "Okay, I can't even see this thing because I'm in Seattle, right? The Coyotes are up there playing Seattle."
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, that's nothing. I'm going to go on a roof with Ron Wolfley and stare at a solar eclipse."
It's just so bizarre, though it really is. Don't say it happens once every 200 years, ladies and gentlemen. It does not, Warrior Queen.
We need more fake wolf eclipse facts. We should come
just-
back from every break with those.
You know what, seriously, It is kind of bizarre right now to be out here, especially since we were talking about the Phoenix Suns. Okay, and the
Look at
Suns.
this segue right here with
I'm
Bradley
just saying,
Beal.
once
yeah.
again, because we've been talking a lot about the Suns, of course, and you cannot talk about the Phoenix Suns and what happened on Sunday unless you talk about what happened against the T-Wolves on Friday night. To me, the juxtaposition of those two games right there was going to be critical for this team going forward. And I have to tell you, what they did defensively on the defensive end of the floor against the T-Wolves, I was so encouraged. I think we all were encouraged. And I thought they were playing very, very hard on the defensive end of the floor yesterday. I just thought the Pelicans, C.J. McCollum made shots, and the Suns did not make all their shots.
Yeah, here's Bradley Beal after the game. He had 33 points in the game, and he talked about it.
That I can do it. I know. I mean, it doesn't. I don't feel good about it because we lost. This is something like. I mean, I can care less about how many I scored in the L. I think for me, it's being aggressive. It keeps the floor open. It keeps defenses honest. I think they were trying to hide Zion on me, so I'm going to score. I think they were trying to hide several defenders on me because they figured I don't shoot as much, but I'm not allowing that to happen anymore. I was kind of just reprogramming my mind of just, being aggressive, and my teammates and coaches all instilled that in me too, to just be aggressive, look for your shot, stop always looking to just, create and pass when you attack, but at the same time, it keeps defenses honest, man. Everybody out there has to guard. We're not going to just allow you to hide and not be involved in action.
I think there's a lot to what he just said right there. I know it came in a loss, so it didn't translate for the Suns yesterday, but there's some truth, and maybe some encouraging truth there of you're going to try and hide a defender on Bradley Beal because he's facilitating more than he's shooting. All right, he'll just drop 33 on you. I mean, he can do that. Anytime you're going to hide a defender on him, he can do that. It didn't result in a win yesterday, but something to keep an eye on in the playoffs.
Once again, just as a general statement right now, when I think of the Phoenix Suns, Basinonians, I think of three things that they must do going forward. Number one is continue with let Beal deal. Okay?
We're going to have Paulie on the show later, actually.
Paulie, once again, let Beal deal, right? I think going forward, point Beal. I want to see that continue to be nurtured with this team going forward. That's number one. Number two, they have to continue to take a amount of threes that we have seen over the last 3 weeks, I would say in particular. They've made a concerted effort not to go out and attempt 26 threes, as they did all season long. That's where they were at, 24, 25, 26 threes a game. Now all of a sudden they're up to 36, 37 threes in a game. And that, to me, is what I want to see them continue to develop. And then defense, defense, defense. Those three things I think the Suns can build on. And I thought they were pretty consistent over this last 10-game stretch, at least the last 6 that we've seen.
Yeah, and the other thing real quick with Beal, too, is usually when you're hiding defenders on a guy, it's because you're not worried about that guy scoring as much. That's not the case with Beal. Obviously, he can score. It's just sort of out of necessity for teams when the Suns have the full big three out there. All right, when we come back, we're going to stay on the roof for another segment. I believe isn't like the most eclipse-y time of the day coming up here? I think it's at 11:20.
Wow.
Wolf has been staring at this thing for 15 minutes. I'm assuming Wolf may just shoot off into outer space here during the break. Could the Chicago Bears do what the Texans did in the first round of the NFL draft last year? We'll get into that next. It's Wolf and Luke on Arizona Sports, the local sports leader. All right, well, we're back. We're on the roof. There were people over there on that other roof over there, Wolf, and could you see? I guess you can't see him. Wolf has been wearing the eclipse glasses for the 15 minutes we've been up here. So Wolf can't see anything. Like, there are more people up here with us now, Wolf. Jarrett Carlin is up here on the roof. I didn't even know that was legal, but here he is. He's standing behind
I have no idea who's actually up on the roof and who is not up on the roof. I kind of like this blackout situation based on it. You cannot see anything. You can't see anything unless you stare at the sun.
And I should also point out Wolf has been staring at the sun for the last 15 minutes with his blackout glasses on.
And what is so interesting about that, here we are talking about the NFL draft, right? Are we not, Basinonians? We're talking about the NFL draft. There's an eclipse that is going on right now. And how many times do you hear me say, stare at the sun and you're going to see spots? And sure enough, does that apply? Does that apply to the Arizona Cardinals and whether or not they're going to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. or the rumor that is out there in regard to what they're going to do with the number 4 pick overall? You hear this draft subterfuge that always seems to come out, and it's only going to get worse and worse and worse the closer you actually get to the draft. You're going to hear it. Stories that are leaked intentionally, stories that are not leaked intentionally. Which ones do you believe? Stare at the sun, you're going to see spots.
Rome Odunze, Chop Robinson, set to visit with the Cardinals, I believe, today. So that's two pretty big names right there. The Cardinals, maybe more than any other team, are in that spot of like, you probably should just visit everybody because you might be drafting anywhere between 4 and 35. And you definitely are picking at 4 and 35. I tell you, Wolf, there are people on one of the other parking garages from like we're on the roof. This is how you do it. You get up on the roof, right? There's people from some other business on a different parking garage, and I wanted to yell over and ask if they wanted to talk about the Arizona Cardinals, but they went downstairs and we're 2 minutes away from the most important part of the eclipse.
Yes. I'm going to take my blackouts off.
Great
right
timing.
now.
Don't accidentally look at it.
No, I'm going to do that.
Okay.
I'm not going to look up. I'm not going to do that. Luke, why did you say that? Why did you
well,
say
because
that? Now all of a sudden you've got.
No, just look at me because
exactly.
I keep almost looking up because I have regular
now
sunglasses
all of a sudden,
on.
Exactly. I was going to look up. I'm
Don't
not
look
going to
up.
do that right now. Okay, I'm not going to do that.
You'll be fine because you don't have sunglasses on.
I can tell you, it's gotten to a point right now where I've stared at it so long that it's kind of like, okay.
Well,
it's kind of like looking at the Grand Canyon. You just kind of look at it and you go, what did Chevy Chase do famously, of course? Hey, that's kind of cool. It's a big
about
hole.
5 seconds.
Big hole in the ground. That's cool. Okay, good. Next, here we go. It's kind of feels that way right about now.
I can safely say, having stood next to you up here for the last 19 minutes, that Ron Wolfley has looked at this eclipse more than anybody in the world today because he's just been looking at it for the last 19 minutes.
I've seen it. It's burned into my memory right now, which is saying something.
That's you'll never forget it. Great view up here, by the way, just looking around the city. We should do every show up here.
I don't think so.
Probably not, huh?
Probably. No, I don't. I don't like it. It's too vast. I like the intimacy of Studio Shangri-La.
Did you think at all, even for a second, when they brought us up here, Anthony brought us up here, and we couldn't see all the other people that are already up here, did you think for just a second they were letting us go and this is how they were doing it? They were just going to lock us on the roof? Because I was wondering.
I didn't
have
think
that fear.
that.
Okay.
No, I did not.
That's
but
good.
you know, it's interesting because you were talking about Rome Odunze and Chop Robinson, right? Two guys that the Arizona Cardinals have had top 30 visits with, correct?
Yes.
Well,
they're going to.
They're going
to, yeah.
They're going to do that right now, right? Those two guys are very, very similar players to me. They play two different positions, of course. You got Chop Robinson on the edge, and you got Rome Odunze as a wide receiver. Ron Wolfley reporting, but I will tell you, Basinonians, those two guys are football players. The common thread that they share is they are football players. Rome Odunze, you could line him up at weak side inside linebacker, and I think somehow he'd actually hold up.
No, he'd give it a shot.
Because he's a football player. He's got the bud. He's got the size. He could actually do it. He's got the mentality. Chop Robinson is exactly the same way. I love Chop Robinson because he's thick and because of his effort.
You could come out of the first round with guys named Rome and Chop. There's nothing wrong with
cool.
with your name game at that point for sure. I'm going to throw this at you. There is going to be a visit, Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Bears. And the Bears are being looked at as a team that could maybe move back up in the first round. They got the first pick. They're going to take Caleb Williams. They should just announce it now. But can you imagine if Chicago finds a way to trade up? And it's not the craziest thing. If you're the Cardinals and you've decided that Marvin Harrison Jr. isn't necessarily worth holding on to the number 4 pick for, Chicago has the number 9 pick. I mean, we saw Houston do this last year with the Cardinals. Houston got C.J. Stroud, and then they moved right back up and got Willie Anderson Jr. Caleb Williams is coming into this draft with a lot more hype than C.J. Stroud was going into last year's draft, and the Bears are going to get him. If they found a way to move up and get Marvin Harrison Jr., that would be a pretty scary lineup right there.
No, that would be. You know what's so fascinating about this, once again, brothers? It's all about who do you love. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder right now, and who do the Chicago Bears love? It happens all the time. You have a tendency to fall in love with a player, and certainly when you've got 3 wide receivers, the caliber of Marvin Harrison Jr., Rome Odunze, of course, and Malik Neighbors, those 3 guys right now, I'll guarantee you, the Bears prefer one of those over the others. It just happens all the time. It does. You're going to set your draft board. It's going to happen. You're going to get your entire scouting department together, and they're going to sit there and stand on the table and stand up for their guy and say, this is the guy that we've got to draft. And there's going to be disagreement. It's never unanimous. There's always going to be some dissenting force in that scouting department that is going to stand up and say, if we don't draft Malik Neighbors, were making a massive mistake. And then, once again, who do you love? That's what it comes down to. The general manager, of course, will always make that final call. And to me, man, they could possibly stay at number 9 and get the guy that they love. Or move up, be aggressive, and then draft the guy as well. But they're going to have to give up a huge amount of picks.
Yeah, but, I mean, if they pull that off, you're starting to see a trend now. Would you say 2 is a trend? Because then you'll have seen Houston do it last year and Chicago do it this year. By the way, I'm looking at you, and way behind you, I believe that's State Farm Stadium out there, isn't it? Does this count as doing a remote from State Farm Stadium? I think that's what that is.
As a matter of fact, that is, yeah.
That is, only in Arizona can you see, like, 15 miles west.
Yes.
I mean, that's a pretty big building, obviously. Also, is that somebody's house in a hill, mountain?
Yeah, that is somebody's
live in a
house
mountain?
right there. Well, yeah, of course. That's what they do. It looks like there's some type of letter on that mountain as well. I don't know what it is, maybe an S. Maybe that's all we're saying right now, but it is fascinating to look around. And what can you see? You can see that it's a basin.
Jarrett's getting way too close to the edge with his bright lavender pants over there.
Yeah, look at him. Don't do it, Greg Brady.
Jared was actually wearing those glasses and living up here when we got here. This is where he goes after the show, so that worked out pretty well for us.
So right now, the eclipse is
it's still going.
Full, right?
I love the idea of you and I describing the eclipse because the two of us probably know less about it than anybody on the face of the earth.
Correct.
It's still going until 12:30-ish.
Yes.
We're past 11:20 though, and that was supposed to be the peak
past
moment.
11:20.
Wolf is putting the glasses back on. This is a big
man.
moment.
You can
Is
totally
it still there?
see it, man. Yes.
The only flaw to this plan is we
bizarre.
can't both wear the glasses at the same time because we'll have no idea what we're doing.
Okay, yeah.
Although it probably sounds like we don't have any idea what we're doing.
Kind of
anyway.
like the last time I looked at it.
Do you want to throw it to break so we can go downstairs?
No.
Well, I forgot what we're talking about at 11:30 because all my notes are downstairs.
Look, we're going to be back in studio Shangri-La. That's next.
Geraldo Perdomo, that's what we're talking about. But Wolf really threw it to break. All right, we're going downstairs talking some baseball next. It's Wolf and Luke on Arizona Sports, the local sports leader.
Ciao.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.